There is something quietly admirable about people who rely on common sense. Not education, not complicated theories, not endless analysis, just simple, grounded human logic. In a world full of overthinking, overstimulation, opinions, noise, and conflicting advice, these people move through life with a kind of stability, a grounded calmness that comes from trusting what feels naturally true. Some call it instinct, some call it practicality, some call it simplicity. But at its core, common sense is emotional intelligence wrapped in everyday thinking. Today, let's explore the psychology behind people who use their common sense, not to praise or criticize, but to understand why this mindset feels refreshing, rare, and quietly powerful. People with strong common sense are often deeply in tune with how the real world works. They don't get lost in complicated explanations, or social expectations, or emotional drama. They see things as they are, not as they wish they could be. This clarity comes from observation, from experience, from paying attention to life. Common sense is not about being right. It's about understanding patterns in a quiet, natural, grounded way. These people notice what others miss. They read facial expressions. They sense changes in mood. They understand what needs to be done without needing instructions. They solve problems simply because that's how their mind works. Psychologically, common sense thinkers rely on practical intelligence. They don't complicate things unnecessarily. They don't dramatize. They don't get lost in what-if scenarios. Instead, they focus on what is the simplest truth here? What makes sense right now? What needs to be done first? This mindset reduces anxiety. It brings their nervous system into a calm place. It helps them avoid emotional overwhelm. For them, clarity is peace. These people also have something many others struggle with: self-trust. They trust their observations. They trust their judgment. They trust their own ability to understand situations. They don't rely heavily on others to tell them what to do. They don't need constant approval. They don't wait for permission. They simply act based on what their inner logic tells them. And interestingly, people with strong common sense often make better decisions with less stress because they don't overcomplicate life. Another psychological layer is emotional grounding. People with strong common sense often grew up in environments where they had to figure things out quickly. Maybe they had responsibilities early. Maybe they had limited emotional support. Maybe life required them to be observant and adaptable. So their practical intelligence became sharp. Their instincts became reliable. Their mind became steady. And now, in adulthood, they move through challenges with a quiet strength that many people admire. But here's something important. Common sense doesn't mean they know everything. It means they understand how to navigate life with balance. They don't pretend to be experts. They don't act superior. They simply observe, think, and respond, using the wisdom of what already feels obvious. Their logic is rooted in humanity, not complexity. On the emotional side, people who rely on common sense are often very grounded in reality. They don't create unnecessary stories in their mind. They don't jump to conclusions. They don't let emotions spiral out of control. Instead, they ask themselves, what's actually happening here? What do I know for sure? What is the simplest explanation? This makes them stable partners, calm friends, reliable co-workers, and emotionally balanced individuals. They handle life in a way that keeps chaos small and peace big. But common sense people also have vulnerabilities. Sometimes others misunderstand them. Some might think they're too simple or not emotional enough. or too logical, when really, they're just choosing clarity over confusion. They feel deeply. They just process emotions through action, not overthinking, and that's a strength. If you're someone who navigates life with common sense, you might have been judged for being too practical. But the truth is, your grounded thinking is what keeps you steady. While the world around you gets loud, your ability to simplify the complex is not a weakness, it's wisdom. Your clarity is your power. Your self-trust is your anchor. Your grounded mind is your gift. And the world needs more people like you. Speech balloon, are you someone who relies on common sense more than anything else? Do you solve problems simply, trust your instincts, and avoid unnecessary overthinking? If this sounds like you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Your insight might help someone realize that being practical isn't basic, it's emotionally intelligent, stable, and deeply human. And remember, you don't need to be complicated to be wise. Sometimes the simplest truth is the one that saves you.